it's Christopher Estrella coming at you with another vlog for IDH3035 Myth and Ritual in Film. I know this vlog was due a couple months back, but I've been very busy with this semester. 18 credits is as hard as people say, especially when you're an engineering major and a language major. So I got a little backed up when it comes to these vlogs, but I did watch all the movies. I have been keeping up with the stuff. I just haven't had time to actually sit down and process all my thoughts into one cohesive video. But they're all going to be coming very soon, and I thank you so much for being patient and allowing me, to post even though it's a little late. What I have to say is interesting, so listen up. Now, vlog number 3 has to do with dystopia, and one of my favorite movies was included in this category, WALL-E. Now, for me, WALL-E was a very interesting movie. I think it's one of the best movies Disney has put out, especially Pixar. It has a lot of meaning, a lot of different relations that we can all take out of. Like, the way that nature is so important is something that hasn't been portrayed or something that isn't conveyed to young kids as important. So this movie, I think, is very useful in that. And now to get into the dystopian culture. Now, clearly something happened on planet Earth, some big nuclear holocaust or some environmental disaster, that the whole strains of the human race had to run away and leave the Earth basically until it was habitable again. Now, this is very important because the origin of all life is nature. The origin of all life is plants, just like in Egyptian culture, Ra, the corn god, like everything has to go back to plants and nature because that's what provides substance, what provides shelter, what provides trading means, like food. Food is the whole basis of everything. Now, the improper treatment of nature shows the dystopian nature of the society. If they messed up so bad that they had to run away to another place and live on a ship for X amount of years, shows that they're not utopian at all. Even though they try to be on the ship, you can tell this goes very AWOL, as basically the captain is a figurehead for the ship's mainframe, and everyone becomes dependent on technology. Even, I know one scene that was really interesting to me and impactful was the scene where they pass by all the captains, and you see them get progressively fatter. That shows how they're increasingly dependent, like their fatness is basically it's like a metaphor for their dependency on technology, because the bigger they get, the more they become dependent on technology. Even in the scene where you see the big hub or the social area, you see all of them, they talk to each other through screens. They don't even see each other. And it was very shocking when all the screens went blank and actually saw each other face to face, because they had never done that. That shows that the overall dependence of technology is something that has consumed their lives. In any utopian society, you're supposed to have balance between different things, whether it be nature, whether it be machinery, whether it be social factors, which clearly doesn't happen here. But that all ends because Wally and Eve, kind of like Adam and Eve, are the beginning or the restart button for society and the human race. Basically, they have brought back the plant, which when the plant gets planted in the ship, will guide them back to Earth and shows that it's habitable and they can restart again. Basically, this is kind of, I don't know if they probably did it on purpose, maybe some people caught on, maybe didn't. It's like Adam and Eve, they're the basis in Christianity of humans, period. And they were in this garden that had all these different fruits and all these different plants. So basically the theme of they're the restart of humanity, and nature is all rampant throughout this movie. Now, I already spoke about how life begins with plants because of my outline. I'm looking at it, but I already spoke about that earlier. So I'm going to talk about the last thing I have here for WALL-E is the power of persuasion in the human spirit. I thought it was very interesting because all religion is kind of like a safety blanket for societies. Something for them to count on, something for them to unite them, and basically the power of the human spirit is something that unites these people in this movie. The moment that the captain is able to stand on his 2 feet and, little baby waddle all the way to the ship, and it shows at the end credits, how they see that the people, again, progressively get thinner, more fit, and they begin all these new plants, and it shows that even though their society was supposed to end, it didn't. Even though nothing was supposed to grow on the earth, it still did. Even though WALL-E wasn't supposed to be important, he was. So it shows that, there's always where there's a will, there's a way kind of thing. And I thought that was one of the main messages of the movie. Now, I'm not going to speak about the Batman movie because I feel like everyone's going to do that. So I'm going to speak about Metropolis along with WALL-E. Now, I actually liked this movie. It was pretty interesting to me, especially in the time frame it was made in the 1920s. Cinema was just a relatively new thing, a couple decades. But I thought it was a really cool concept to present this, and especially in Germany with all the stuff that had gone down in Germany previous with World War One and everything. But let's get into the movie. We'll leave the history stuff for another class. So I feel that this is clearly a dystopia when you have a social hierarchy. In utopia, everyone's equal, everyone's the same rights, everyone is sharing. It's like optimal communism, like communism at like the way it's supposed to be, not the way it is in our world. But here you have a division. You have the underground people that work and do all the hard labor, and the rich people that are the upper class society that live above ground. Now, if you have that, you don't have a utopia. You have a disbalance. You're going to have prejudice. You're going to have people who are going to think they're better than others. And that whole idea, what does that lead? Eventually, the society is going to be overthrown, like it was in the movie. Now, the idea that the masses are controlled by the few, because I think there's more of a reflection on political systems, and it shows how a few group of people and their words, and basically when they say what you want to hear, or they say what you feel that you need to hear, can control a whole group of people. Because that's basically what the Maria robot does, and that it's one robot. Still wreaks havoc to the point where the whole society collapses. So that I think is a metaphor for political instability, especially with what was going on in Germany in the time. But it definitely says a lot about this society when you have this robot who basically has all these fed up workers destroy the machinery that's keeping the city alive, and basically drown their own city. I think that was pretty interesting. But at the end, the people see that the Maria robot is crazy, and they burn her at the stake, which parallels to me. It parallels witch burnings, and what came to mind the first time I saw that was the burning of Joan of Arc at the stake. I thought that was pretty. It's kind of like drawing in this person, this Maria robot that was seen as a martyr almost, gets burned at the stake as a heretic. That's kind of like what happened to Joan of Arc, even though she was made a saint after. But at the moment, the British, saw her as a heretic, as a witch, as a crazy woman that basically, because of them, they lost France. So that to me was very interesting and kind of parallel, that other side of religion, Jesus, listen to me, religion. Now, the last thing I wanted to speak about was the destruction of that heart machine, or the heart of the city, the machine that basically keeps everything running. It was more symbolic than just being a machine being destroyed. It spoke about destroying the whole society itself. It spoke about destroying not only the people's way of life, but the people's mentality also. Because the moment that is destroyed, all the children are abandoned, mind you, to go destroy this. And the children are the most important thing in the society. So people are abandoning their whole beliefs, their whole system of thinking, just to be able to destroy this machine. So that shows that once you destroy the heart, everything goes down. And that's all I have to say for this vlog, because I'm almost at 9 minutes. So thank you guys so much for listening to my vlog, and I'm sorry this is going up so late. I apologize. 4, 5, and 6 will be up very soon. I thank you all, and have a nice night.